Well, we are ready to set the grids for the TireRack.com battle on the bricks. We're at Speedway, Indiana, which is a reasonable little 15-20 minute drive from downtown Indianapolis, which is a beautiful place to be, some fabulous restaurants. And of course, we are at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're going the wrong way around the oval every time we're on it, so down from turn 14, our turn 14, which is Speedway turn 1, back towards turn 4, which is our turn 1. Yeah, I know. It's a bit of a mind bender, to be honest. Nice little compilation of corners and fast straights. Weather's been fabulous today. It is still 93 Fahrenheit in the air, that's 34 Celsius, and on the track, Nelson, 111 Fahrenheit, 44 Celsius. In the For Performance Global Broadcast Centre, it's John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw. Let's check in first with our pit reporter, Shay Adam. 2 15-minute sessions of qualifying. Take a deep breath, Shay, because there's an awful lot of names you've got to go through. Shall we start with GTD Pro, because that's where the choice is. The GTDs, if we run out of time, they sort of select themselves. So GTD first, please. And by the way, good afternoon.
Hello. It is open qualifier for everybody in every category except for LMP2. So we do have quite a few different options to go and play between. But GTD Pro, we have 13 cars in the class this weekend. Neil Verhagen has been given qualifying duties for the number 1 Paul Miller Racing BMW that was victorious last time out. The number 3 Corvette is Alexander Sims. And I didn't actually see who was getting into the number 4 Corvette because there was no driver on either the pit stand or in the car when I walked by, but I believe it should be Nick Katzberg. Marvin Kirchhofer has been given the qualifying duties for Pfaff Motorsport with their McLaren, the only McLaren in the field this weekend. Once again, in Lexus World with Vaster Sullivan, if it's a qualifying session, it's got to be Jack Hawksworth aboard the number 14. Maxi Paul, making his second ever IMSA WeatherTech start, I believe, this weekend, is going to be doing the qualifying for Iron Lynx in their number 19 Lamborghini. Didn't see which driver was going to be getting into the number 23. Oh, no, wait, I see Alex Riberas helmeted up, so that answers that question for the Aston Martin. Daniel Serra loves getting pole positions. He's very good at doing that with Risi Competizione in their Ferrari, and he will be trying to get one here at Indy today. For the 2 Fords for Multimatic, we've got Mike Rockenfeller in the 64 and Dirk Mueller aboard the 65. The 75 Sun Energy 1 Mercedes Superstar. Stand back from the fences, it's Chazzy Mostert aboard that one. And finally, penultimately, the championship leader, Roxy, is back this weekend, and it is Lauren Heinrich doing qualifying duties for the first time. Kind of crazy to think that. The final car in category used to be in GTD as the 27. This weekend it is the 027, and that is none other than Roman DeAngelis taking that car out for qualified. All right, now if we go to GTD World, the number 12 Lexus, I talked to him earlier on, and Parker Thompson, we joked about the fact that he's really good at getting pole positions during the endurance races. He qualified second at Sebring, first at Daytona and Watkins both. Let's see where he stacks up today. It's Ori Fidani aboard the number 13 AWA Corvette. We've got Francois Hérault in the number 21 AF Corse Ferrari, and Charlie Scardina in the 023 Triarcis Ferrari. In the most recent race-winning car in the GTD category, the number 32 for KPM, that Mercedes will be piloted by Mick Grenier. Manny Franco is aboard the number 34 Conquest Racing Ferrari. We've got Jarrett Andretti for the number 43 Andretti Motorsport car. It's John Potter in qualifying for Magnus Racing. As always, did not see who was qualifying the number 45 for which car that would be, but it should be Graham Doyle because he has been doing the duties for WTR Andretti every time they've gone out. Roberto Lacorte is aboard the number 47 Chetler Racing Ferrari. John-Marc Leverato, pole sitter last time out for Ford. He'll be doing the duty for Proton Competition. We've got Rasmus Lind helping Dragon Speed out with their debut and their Ferrari. Russell Ward, always aboard the number 57 Winward Racing Mercedes, trying to get their 4th consecutive endurance race win. Take another half step back from the fences, ladies and gentlemen, because Stephen Mackler just got out of the RS1 Porsche and into the Gradient Racing Acura. We've got Brendan Arieb in the Inception Ferrari. Yes, you heard me correctly. In the number 78, the next car down the list, that is Devlin DiFrancesco for Forte Racing and their Lamborghini. Sally Yolick is aboard the Mercedes for Lone Star. and Sarah Bovey given qualifying duties for the 83. That is the Iron Dames Lamborghini. We heard earlier on for Anders Fjordbæk that the Porsche from MDK Motorsport would be driven by Kieran Lee, and Aditi is aboard that. The other Porsche that we are welcoming to the series this weekend is Kelly Moss with Riley, and the number 90 has Jake Pedersen aboard it. Final two cars on the grid, it is Patrick Gallagher doing qualifying duties for Turner Motorsport. As you can hear, the green flag has come out behind me. And last and certainly not least, Wright Motorsport, Adam Adelson. I'm going to breathe for the next 15 minutes. You talk for a while, John.
Nah, I'm just going to let it go. Well done. Excellent stuff. Shea Adam down on the pit lane for us. Absolutely intense. Jeremy Shaw is joining me here in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. Well, Jeremy, this was closer than a close thing on a close day that had been shaved and then pushed together earlier on. I have no clue in any of the classes, and that's just the way we like it.
It is, it's going to be, it's absolutely wide open. I agree, all of the classes wide open. It's going to be fun. That's why we have qualifying. That's why we don't just draw them out of a hat or go by championship positions. This is going to be fun. And boy, I tell you what, I mean, it's so close, particularly in the GT classes. I mean, goodness gracious, how many cars? The fastest time this morning was a 1 minute 23.4. If you go back to 24.4, so 1 second. Well, 1 second and a bit. We've got 19 drivers in GTD Pro and 21 in GT. So basically 40 drivers turning times within a second of each other this morning in the practice session. So it's going to be obviously only one of the drivers in each of the cars qualifies the car this afternoon, but this is going to be fun.
Got a note from race control at the 023. The Triazzi, Riccardo Agostini driven Triazzi Competizione 296 Ferrari is in the transition lane and parked at the moment. That car not moving. And yes, by the way, that is an Agostini. That is a two-wheeled legend family, and Riccardo making his way in the four-wheeled portion of our sport. And we've got a lot of two-wheeled motorsport to catch up on today, as I've been sitting in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. So I'm going to catch up to do. Let's go down to Shea Adam and see what's going on in the pit lane, because there are very strict rules, Shea, in the GT and the LMP2 side of things, what we can and can't do once we start the 15-minute counter.
Well, the Ferrari just fired up and rumbled back into life, now going down the pit lane. There's no access back to the garage, so perhaps they were trying to find more of a gap, but there are no gaps. There's so many cars out on track right now, and it is a dense track. I think that's what happened with Alex Riveras, though. He went out in a big clutter of traffic, and the team said to him, mate, this isn't worth it. Come back and park. Let's wait for some other people to stop going around, and if we don't get to the minimum guaranteed green flag runtime of 10 minutes, well, they're going to start P2, because that's where they are in the championship, so there's nothing to gain and everything to lose at this stage.
That's a fair point, well made. IMSA have been known to add time on at the end as well, in terms of getting to the minimum time, which is 10 minutes. And don't necessarily expect to see all the GTD pros at the sharp end of the field, because the cars run to the same performance potential. So if you have a Works Corvette by Pratt Miller and the AWA Corvette, or you have a Works Aston Martin, we haven't got a Works Aston Martin, have we? A Works Ford from Multimatic, or the Proton Ford, potentially those cars are balanced to the same performance levels. It is the driver that makes the difference. Waiting to see the time starting to come down. We're looking at probably something around about You think a low 124 will do it, Jeremy, or do you think it'll be under 124 for GTD?
No, it'll be under 24, I would suggest. Question is, will it be under 23? 23.4 was the fastest in the FP2 this morning. That was by Lauren Heinrich in kind of 77.80 Racing Porsche. What time is it now? It's 3:45, so it's still pretty
had a spin,
toasty
Jeremy.
out there. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'll come back to that. Dirk Muller has dropped the 65 Ford Multimatic GT3. And there's another one that I have to put. That's Tom Dillman and Dirk Muller, who've had mistakes today, staying out of the way. That was at turn 12. And what did he do wrong? He was letting cars through, actually. And we've been saying this all day, but offline, it is extremely slippery. I don't think he got hit. I think that was just, again, turning in. And offline, he stayed a little bit wide to let other cars through. Dirk Muller, no good turn goes unstunned there. He has not done any damage, I don't think. Jeremy was about to talk about the temperature. The track temperature is down from what we've seen earlier on in the Michelin Pilot race. It's 109 Fahrenheit, which is 43 Celsius. Air temperature still hovering around 34 Celsius, which is 93, 94 Fahrenheit. Little or no wind to talk about, and the humidity has crept up to 34%. 120 was the highest track temperature I think we saw earlier today. So not absolutely pristine conditions in terms of fast laps, Jeremy, but by no means the worst.
Indeed not, and already we've seen some fast times. Fourth lap, third flying lap completed now by most of the contenders. Lauren Heinrich again to the top then, a 123.150 for the German. That's already 3/10 quicker than he went when he set the pace this morning in free practice 2, so good lap there by him. The lap record, by the way, in GTD Pro was a 123.140. He's just turned a 123.150, so he's got to find another hundredth of a second to beat Klaus Bachler's lap record for GTD Pro in qualifying. However, the overall fastest lap for GTD in qualifying was set last year by Madison Snow at 123.075, and it's certainly going to be under threat, I think, that mark.
Yeah, Nicky Katzberg with the best third sector on his route to second position, and a 123.2, 123.150 for EO, for Rexy at the moment, the green number 77 Porsche. Corvettes, we talked about this earlier on today, were 51st and 53rd, or 51st and 52nd on the timing screen in one of our free practice sessions earlier on, but they've worked their way through as they tend to. Porsche, Corvette, BMW, Porsche, Corvette, BMW, Corvette, Mustang, Ferrari, Aston is your top 7 there, all GTD Pros. Mick Grenier for the Court of Preston Motorsport Mercedes AMG with a 23.5, so all down in the mid-23s or better. Now, incident responsibility for Manny Franco. So that Conquest Ferrari that was behind Dirk Muller did hit the Ford, and that is a drive-through for Manny Franco.
Yeah, we're on that. We had that onboard shot. It sounded like there was a bit of a bump, I must admit, but from the onboard from Dirk Muller. And as the car spun around, you could see the Conquest cars going past him. But when we saw him going past, it seemed to be quite a long way away. But I thought I'd heard a bit of a bump.
Yes, that's.
And clearly there was.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I thought exactly the same. It was too far back to influence it. Hello to Kevin Payne in the UK. Back from an enjoyable day. Saturday, of course, is soccer day in the UK. Every day's soccer day now, isn't it? But Kevin back from an enjoyable day at Villa Park and watching and listening to the qualifying. Good result there today. Let's see who's improving. Alex Riberas, Heart of Racing, 1:23.3. Good enough for 5th position. So 0.2 of a second takes you down, 2.5 of a second, takes you down to 6th position. 7th position, actually, Daniel Serra and the Racing Competizione Ferrari. Chocolate block field, bumper, returning cars for Michelin Endurance Cup, as well as the regulars from the WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. Also some of the cars coming back. Iron Dame's back for the first time since that big accident for the Lamborghini at Watkins Glen. Racing back, as we mentioned earlier on in the weekend. I accept that some of you are joining us. So a couple of bits and pieces, added drivers, as you might imagine. Make sure you tune in for our Michelin Counts Down to Green on RS2 before we go live on the international feed with the TV. And we'll run through the whole 56 car grid. If you have Porsche keys to the race, and Adam and Jeremy Shaw will make sure that they bring you right up to date with all of the stories this week. Also, you might want to have a quick look at SportsCar 365, where John DeGeese and the team have been working hard with their notebook features, which are very impressive. Rockefeller with a decent time. Mike, Rocky, 3rd place. Porsche, Corvette, Ford Mustang, BMW now as he ages onto the inside of the front row ahead of Neil Verhagen.
Yeah, so there's top 3 now within. Yeah, top 3 now within 1/10 of a second. Boy, it is tight, isn't it? As you say, 7 cars covered by 1/4 of a second, and 20 cars covered by a full second, including all 13 GTD Pros. So yeah, that by Lauren Heinrich early on sounds pretty good. Just another good lap there, but a 23.3 for him, 0.2 away from his best lap, fastest in this session.
Just a reminder that the drivers who are out qualifying now will start the race tomorrow, but being a 6-hour race, I'll say that again, being a 6-hour race, here we're starting it a bit earlier in the day, so make sure you check the schedule at IMSA.com, but also that gives the opportunity to play around with the driver stints. We're down to the last couple of minutes here. Jack Hawksworth improves, and off for the number 65 Ford Mustang. Stuart Muller again with another little off. He's down in 16th overall. Marvin Kirchhoffer in the Pfaff McLaren, 17th overall. But again, we're talking under a second, 0.8 of a second away from overall pole. These are very, very fine margins.
Amazing, isn't it? I mean, yesterday in the first free practice one, the McLaren, the only McLaren in the field now, of course, with the exception switching to Ferrari, was fastest of the GTD Pro cars, behind a couple of GTDs, at a 1:24.0 for Marvin Kirchhoffer yesterday, which is pretty much exactly the same time he has done just now in qualifying to be 13th and last in GTD Pro. Another good lap by Neil Verhagen, by the way, a couple of laps ago. Well, he just brought the car to the pits, but he turned another lap that was within 1/10 of a second of his best, and now he's brought the number 1 Paul Miller Racing BMW onto pit lane.
Yeah, here is the additional driver to join Madison Storm and Brian Sellers. Welcome back to Jarrett Andretti and Andretti Motorsports with their Porsche, the number 43. The sort of greeny blue, not sure how to describe the front part of the car. The rest of it's white, thank goodness. And they are back with us after missing a couple of races. Jarrett's calling it a day as he comes in to the pit lane. I feel there's something missing from the front of that car, and it's taken me ages to work out what it is, but I think it's not got the day notice lights, the LEDs that should be in the front of that car as a 99. No, the 992s don't have them, do they? There's something about the colour of that car that just makes the front look a bit different. A lot of people coming into the pits, although Alexander Sims is staying out in 5th position at the moment for Corvette. And his splits don't show that he's going to improve. He's got a clear track around him, though. Comes to the line now, and I think we'll be the first person to see the checkered flag, will he? Got a couple of corners to go, or is he going to dive off into the pits? Yeah, he's coming in the pits. He would have had the Delta on his dashboard, or on his steering wheel. And all of a sudden, there are a handful of cars out there, and it starts to get quiet. Jake Pedersen still out there in the number 90 in the paint scheme that plays tribute to two giants of rock music, Jimmy Page and Jimi Hendrix. Likes his music, does Jake. And it is based on a couple of album covers. Certainly distinctive. I don't think there's, Jeremy said this before, I don't think there's a, if you look from the rear three-quarter on the left, it will not look the same as the front three-quarter on the left, or indeed any of the other views of the cars. Now you've got a bit of a traffic jam stacking up in pit lane as the checkered flag is out. Michelle Gatting took the... Oh, that's interesting. Michelle Gatting qualified the Iron Dames and not Sarah Bovey. That is interesting. That car in 10th position in GTD, 23rd
just ahead of
this
just ahead of Sheila. Excuse me, John. Beg your pardon.
Okay.
Just ahead of Sheila Monk. So the two ladies there will start tomorrow's race. Actually, not side by side. Well, yeah, they will be side by side. We've got an odd number of cars in LMP, haven't we? But they will start in the 10th and 11th positions then in GTD, with Michelle. How much? Less than a tenth of a second quicker than Sheila Monk, who's made good strides this season in that gradient racing Acura.
Yeah.
That's a good qualifying run for her in a very, very stout field.
Yeah, halfway, getting on for certainly halfway up that field with over 30 cars and in the mid-20s. Both of those in the penultimate race for that Acura for gradient. They are moving to Mustang for GT3 next year. So at the top, that time from Lauren Heinrich, a 1:23.150, half a tenth quicker than Nicky Katzberg. 77 Porsche from 4 Corvette, from Ford Mustang GT3 Mike Rockenfeller, another 0.036 back. So we're not at a tenth for the top three. 0.111 away from Paul, so another 0.016 back. Neil Verhagen for BMW. Top 4 different manufacturers. Then Alex Sims in the 3 Corvette. Aston Martin for Heart of Racing will be on the outside of row 3. And row 4, 2 more GTD Pros. Reese's Ferrari, the number 62, and the 027 Heart of Racing Aston Martin Vantage. Now, yes, if you're joining us for the first time, Heart of Racing have put both of their Aston Martin Vantages into Pro this weekend, and I think this is a good idea. We talked about it in free practice earlier, but if you're just joining us on the international feed or on RS2 now, or perhaps even on 103.9 at the circuit, then the 27 as it was in GTD wasn't really the championship fight, but they could really help their teammates in their championship challenge by basically backing them up and getting between their teammate and any of their championship rivals, therefore taking points away from them. It's an interesting strategy. It's been done in racing for a very long time, and in fairness, those two cars have been separated by not very much at all the whole of the free practice, and in that qualifying session they're a tenth away from each other or thereabouts. Best of the GTDs was the Courthoff Preston AMG. That will line up 9th and 10th with Gianmarco Lavorato for Proton's Mustang, the 55, the light blue car. So they'll be on the 5th row. We don't split the GTD Pros from the GTDs. So next there's 4 GTD Pros. Sun Energy won a back, and Chaz Mostert qualified the car run by Team 75 out of Europe and Munich in Germany. He'll be on the inside of row 6. On the outside will be Maxi Paul for the number 19 Iron Lynx Lamborghini Huracan. Then it's the best of the Vassar Sullivan cars, the RCF GT3. Jack Hawksworth down in 13th position, all the way down in 13th, 7.5 tenths, 3/4 of a second away from pole, nothing at all, and shares with Marvin Kirchhofer for Faf's McLaren on almost exactly the same time. Kirchhofer putting that time in on the last lap. Then the rest of the GTDs are Vassar Sullivan, Turner, Ford. Oh no, that's Dirk Muller who had the spin. Dragon Speed back with the Ferrari 296 GT3 in their colours. The 56 car looks fantastic. Rasmus Lind qualified that car 18th best in GT and 5th in GTD, and they've been confirmed by IMSA for a full season entry next year. That news coming out earlier in the week. Behind them, Winwood Racing, Russell Ward and Forte's Lamborghini, Wayne Taylor Racing's Lamborghini, the number 45 car, then Conquest's Ferrari, the mostly white car with the red and black stripes, the 34 car, 9th in GTD, 22nd overall. Jeremy's mentioned the Iron Dames and Gradients sitting in 10th and 11th in GTD, 23rd and 24th in the GT category. I think they will be together, Jeremy, because they'll split the GT field off, won't they? There will be a gap back to GT just a little bit, so they will be on row 12 effectively. Yeah, so effectively they'll be on row 12. I'm watching cars going the wrong way down pit lane, which is the right way down pit lane, obviously, if you watch racing here normally, but then there's cars coming back the other way to the same middle cutout, and it is just scrambling my brain. Then it's Kelly Moss Smith Riley back in the big championship with the number 90 car. Jake Pedersen with that machine in 25th. Karen Lee for MDK Motorsports with their Porsche number 86, and we're still not down into the 30s yet. Charles Scardina did the qualifying for the 023 Triazi competition Ferrari. He's 14th in GTD and 27th in the GC. With Francois Hérault for AF Corsa, that's another Ferrari, number 21 in 28th position. Then Wright Motorsports Porsche, that's the dark green and yellow, number 120. Sally Yolik for Lone Star Racing, the Turkish driver qualifying the Mercedes-Benz number 80 on the outside of row 15. Row 16, Brendan Arib for Inception Ferrari, and Roberto Lecourt for Chettilar's Ferrari, the blue car, the number 47. Then it's John Potter, Magnus Aston Martin on the inside of row 17, with Jarrett Andretti for company in that Andretti Motorsports Porsche, and Ori Fadani for Corvette is in P35. There you go, that's the whole GTD lineup, presuming, of course, they all get through post-qualifying tech. And we're waiting for for Mick Grenier and Lauren Heinrich to come down. They were held because we had to clear the pit lane and cars were going in the wrong direction. First pole position for Lauren Heinrich, and it is Lauren Heinrich who is not there. So it is Mick Grenier who is down there, first of all. And Shea Adam will jump in a second once our TV colleagues have had their go. Our national TV colleagues, rather than international feed. Are you going to jump in, Shea? Sorry, did I hear you say that? Have we been given clearance to jump in? Okay. So, Jeremy, are you reasonably happy with a 10th of a second, or shall we call it 1.5 tenths between the top 5, with 4 different manufacturers in the top 5 as well?
Yeah, pretty impressive, isn't it? And certainly very impressive there for Lauren Heinrich there. His first pole position in the IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship, but another feather in his cap as the championship leader. Really good job by him there. Just outside the qualifying lap record set last year, but awfully close.
Now, a couple of drivers who have broken the qualifying rules and got out before the end of qualifying. Sally Jolich for Lone Star Racing, that will demote that car from 30th to the back of the grid. Not too much of a problem there, you lose all your lap times, but the other car that has had the penalty was the car that was in 4th position in the GTD category, and that was the number 56. And that car's been put to the back as well. So that was Rasmus Lind, who was in 4th for Dragon Speed with the Ferrari. Sorry, everything moved about there as the LMP2 cars are coming out. As they get up to speed and the 15 minutes is on the way, Shay, Adam, do you want to fire them off?
Before I do that, let's have a quick chat with Mick Renier, because it's your second pole position in 3 races and your second pole position ever. What's it like to get pole here at Indy?
Yeah, it's nice, especially that I did not expect it for the reason that we were struggling a lot with car balance this morning. We had a puncture yesterday, a contact this morning with a P2, so it just felt like nothing was rolling. Struggled a lot with, we had some issue with the brakes and setup, and the guy did an amazing job. Now the car felt much better. The brakes were fine, so we're good to go for tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, now it's a 6-hour race. We won the last race, but it was a sprint race, so it's much different tomorrow, and just have to try to stay in the front for 5 hours, and then we see at the end.
Well, in an endurance race, you guys are still very much in this endurance championship, defending winners of the championship. How important is it going to be to have you out front at hour 3?
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the start, stay out of trouble. I have some smart guys around me, so I'm not too stressed about that. I mean, we're a bit far in the championship, but still everything is open. We just have to keep our nose clean and score as many points as we can. Normally we're good for that in the endurance. We have a good team. Pit stop were good the last few races, so yeah.
Congrats on pole. Congrats on the win last time out too, by the way.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mick. All right, before we get into the LMP2 runners, because they are just completing their warm-up lap, Ben Keating is aboard the number 2 for United Autosport USA. The sister car has Dan Goldberg in the 22. We've got John Ferrano in the number 8 for Tower Motorsport. Stephen Thomas in the 11 for TDS Racing. It's Dwight Merriman back with Aero Motorsport, looking to try and continue their streak of endurance race wins. They got a DNF at Watkins Glen, but the 2 big ones at Sebring at Daytona. Dennis Anderson is aboard the high class by MDK number 20. We've got Nick Boole, a championship contender, in the number 52, PR1 Matheson with the Europol. Gar Robinson, as always, is aboard the 74 Riley, blue and orange car. It's Luis Perez Companc in the number 88. That's the Richard Mille AF course car that won at Watkins Glen. And last but certainly not least, the guy who's got the more pole positions and more points in qualifying than anyone else, that would be PJ Hyatt, who is aboard Spike for AO Racing.
Shea Adam in the pit lane. Jeremy Shaw, John Hindorf in the 4 Performance Global Broadcast Centre. So PJ Hyatt goes to the top, 121.8. Mikkel Jensen has the race lap record at a 16.6. Did we actually get anywhere? We got close to that in free practice. Did we get under it, Jeremy? I think did we get down under a 16.6 for LMP2?
We did not, no. 1:17.3 was the fastest by Mikkel Jensen. That was yesterday. The fastest time this morning was a 1:17.5 by Ben Hanley in Car 2. So, no, we didn't. And the lap record for LMP2 was set last year by Ben Keating at a 1:17.9. So something you can do today.
Apologies for not being able to get a word with Lauren Heinrich from AO Racing. As the pit lane was being cleared out, he actually followed the line that went in behind the wall, and once he'd done that, they couldn't get him back out again. So there was an awful lot of shuffling around of cars there. So apologies that we only got one of the 2 pole sitters in GTD. 10 cars in LMP2. We've had 6 of them out and turning reasonable times. They'll be bringing their Michelin tyres up to temperature and pressure. I like this from RTL. With there probably being more events that use the Roval than events that use the oval now, which direction is the right one? The one used for more events or the one used for the event the venue is generally known for? I go with the second part of that, RTL. Having said that, of course, that is just on the oval. I wonder why. I'm looking at the track map now. Why couldn't we run the opposite way around and just drop into turn 1? Somebody's got to have a think about it. I suspect it's something to do with where the barriers are. But that run down into what is turn 14, if you were coming the other way, fast to turn 14 and then heavy braking into 13 and 12, then through 11 in heavy braking at 10 and 9, square right at 7, the opposite way down Holman Boulevard, little shimmy through the 6 and 5 chicane, and it would be 4, 3, 2, 1. I quite like that. It wouldn't be as fast down the main straight though, because you'd be coming onto it from a square left, wouldn't you, from turn 1?
True, but you'd be going a heck of a speed into what would then be
turn 13. Yes. Yeah, turn 13.
And
yes,
coming down the back straight.
Point there.
No, coming down the back straight the other way, going into 5, what is now 5 and 6, or 6 and 5 if you come in the opposite direction. That would be pretty scary as well, I think, because it's a fast corner.
Yeah, I'm up for that. I could always use the motorcycle link and come back the opposite way.
Yes.
We are half. Things we would do if we had ultimate power. Hello, Mr. Penske. I'd like to talk to you. Stephen Thomas is out up front with an 18.1. That's not going to stand, and it hasn't stood because the Inter-Europol PR1 Matheson Orica. All Oricas, by the way, this weekend. Nick Bull to the top with a 17.8. We give our thanks to Lance Wilsey. He's decided to step away from racing, so no Sean Creech Motorsport and their Duquesne this weekend, and which is a shame, but they are working very hard to get the Stars and Stripes 33 back for the final race of the season. And Lance has been a great supporter of IMSA Racing. Big sideways moment for Dwayne Merriman there, coming through the 8-9 chicane. I didn't know you could flat drift an LMP2 car, Jeremy. You needed a bit of curb to set it in motion. That was actually poetry in motion there.
Yeah, it was quite good, wasn't it? Yeah, good save there by Dwight, I must say. That was quite impressive. Just looking at the lap times, by the way, from practice sessions. We talked about the fastest time overall in LMP2. That was by Mikkel Jensen at 1:17.3. The fastest of those that are qualified. Now, it has to be the bronze-rated driver who qualifies the car in LMP2, or the least rated driver at least. Nick, the fastest time in practice was Ben Keating, unsurprisingly, at a 1:18.0. Oh no, 1:17.9. So Nick Moore's just gone faster than that at 1:17.8, and at 1:17.860 is a new lap record then for qualifying in LMP2, but still plenty of time to go. And I think that he's going to have to improve. His next lap was a 1:17.915 for Nick, so a couple of good laps there for that Inter-Europol by PR1 Matheson Motorsports. Very distinctive car, the yellow on one side and green on the other.
Apologies to Lance Wilsey and Sean Creech Motorsport. As soon as I said Duquesne, I knew that was wrong. It is a leash year that they have been running. Stu G says, I remember MotoGP ran the Indianapolis road car in the opposite direction to what we're using this weekend. That was when they weren't trying to dodge various bits of infield that were being blown at them by a hurricane. And Dave Alcock says, look, never mind the numbers, the right way around Indy will be anti-clockwise, as in the Indy 500. Years watching Rick Mears and others at Indianapolis will forever burn that direction. in my mind. Thank you, Dave, for that at IMSA Radio. Down the last 5 minutes then, Nick Bull 1:17.6 for Inter Europol.
Good improvement there then for Nick on that last lap, 1:17.618. Really, really good job by him. He's done a super job this season, is Nick. He's a jeweler by trade, second generation jeweler by trade from Texas, and quite a peddler too. They've had a really good season in this car. Come into this weekend leading the points. He and Tom Dillman by just 27 over Gar Robinson and Felipe Fraga, number 74 car.
Which is currently in the pit lane. Gar Robinson said, "That's it. My 1:18.976, which I did on my last lap. That's as quick as I want to make this car go. I'll only put 6 laps on my Michelin, so I'm going to park that up. Thanks very much. We've got 6 hours tomorrow, and outside of roll 3 at the moment, that'll be all right." Of course, he may not have said or thought any of those things, but he's in the pit lane anyway, so he'd be no better than 6th position.
Another good lap there from Nick Bull, 1:17.773 for him. No improvement on his previous lap, but he's got at least 3 laps now faster than everybody else, led by Ben Keating. PJ Hyatt jumps up to 3rd place in Spike. The Dragon, the AO Racing car in 99, 1:18.107 for PJ. That's just 16 thousandths away from Ben Keating's time.
I love what Cass has just said. Why don't they run IMSA on the full oval layout? 56 cars in effectively 4 different classes. You'd get dizzy for a start. I'm not even certain whether they are homologated to run on an oval in terms of crash worthiness either on a full oval. I know that F3 cars are, old F3 cars were, at least, because I had to go through all of that when I was working at Rockingham Motor Speedway, the Rockingham in Northamptonshire, Northamptonshire at Corby. So Gar Robinson's parked it up, everybody else is improving last time around, and Nick Bull says, right, I've put a 17.6 down, I've put a 17.7 down, catch me if you can. PJ with an 18.8 last time around, his best lap's an 18.1. So maybe just starting to drop off. Still out there, Stephen Thomas. And he's putting a decent-ish lap together. Let's see as he comes to the line now in the TDS bright yellow car. Oh, goes to the front row. Very decent indeed. An 18 flat. Still only Nick Bull under 1:18.
And there were, prior to Stephen Thomas improving on that lap, there were 4 cars within a 1/10 of a second. The number 11 car is now ahead of all of them, but number 2, 99 and 22, all very, very closely matched as well. 1:18.0 for Stephen Thomas, 1:18.179, 18.180 for Dan Goldberg down in 5th position in car number 22. So really close there, and yeah, there's still time for another lap at least.
Stephen Thomas made a little mistake as well.
Personal best in sector 1.
Yeah, Stephen Thomas made a little mistake as well in sector 1 at turn 1. Clipped the curb a bit too much and it put him out of kilter for turn 2, so there might be another improvement if he can string a lap together. Not this one. 1:15 to go. Into Europol, TDS, United and AO. Keating in the pits. Oh, right. Yeah, oh, yes, you're right, Jeremy. Yeah. So he'll be no better than the inside of row 2 at the moment.
And even with that mistake, John, Stephen Thomas just done a 1:18.119, which is only fractions away from his best lap of 1:18.079 the previous lap around.
And he's got one more lap if he's got the tyres under him. 40 seconds still to go. The rules say that you are allowed to complete the lap that you're on. 26.5 in the first sector for Stephen Thomas. It's there-ish. See what his middle sector is. Some improvement further down. Luis Perez Companc has just put the Richard Mille black and red number 88's best time in, and 18.6, 18.9 for, 20.1 for Dwight Merriman, who's still out there in the blue era car. Checkered flag coming up for PJ. And he doesn't improve, but it's an 18.2. That's a decent set of laps for PJ. Daniel Goldberg goes through for United Autosports, signed for United Autosports next year. That press release came out earlier today. Back with United. So, 4th and 5th.
Looks like PJ Hout's going to have to settle for a position on the second row of the grid in LMP2 then. He's already taken checkered flag, hasn't he? Yes, and so that streak of 4 consecutive poles for PJ finally looks like it's coming to an end.
On paper, this track looks nothing at all, but you don't race on paper, and everybody I've spoken to has said the nuances of this short, 22.5 miles, 2.4 miles, just under 4 kilometres. The nuances of this track, the curbs that you've got to use, how much curb you've got to use, and which curbs you can't use. Despite the fact that it's fairly flat, there are a couple of odd little cambers and bumps that you have got to be cognizant of. And that's a half a second between first and second there. Nick Bull, the only one under 1:18, and that is not even as quick as we went in free practice. So track conditions maybe not quite there, with the temperature on the surface of the circuit 106 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. In the air, 34 Celsius is 93 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I mean, no, when you say not, it's quicker than he went in practice. Actually, it was actually quicker than Tom Dillman, the pro driver, one of the pro drivers in that.
Interesting.
The pro driver. It's quicker than Tom went this morning. He did a 17.7, and Nick has just done a 17.6. So, a really tremendous effort for him. His first pole position in the IMSA-sanctioned SportsCar Championship, and a hard-earned one indeed for Nick Bull.
Yeah, and you've just reminded me, as you've said that, of course, that this is the only category that doesn't have free driver choice. You've got to have your lowest ranked driver in it. So you're absolutely right on that, to point that out, Jeremy. So that is what we're looking at there in terms of the differential between the FP times we saw this morning. So Nick Bull then captures pole position. Let me run through the provisional LMP2 grid. Row 1, Inter Europol and TDS. Row 2, United Autosport number 2 and AO Racing number 99. Row 3, United Autosports 22 and Richard Mille 88. That's the double number grid row. That's the third row on the grid. Behind them, 74 Riley and Era's number 18. And the fifth row of the grid, MDK by High Class, courtesy of Dennis Anderson's qualifying, who I don't think we mentioned. And Tower Motorsports, John Ferrano on the outside of row 5. So that's how they'll line up tomorrow, without the Ligier of Sean Creech Motorsport, which we truly hope will be back for the season-ending Motul Petit Le Mans at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. There are 10 Orica LMP2 07s. What a servant to motor racing and endurance racing that Orica chassis has been. There are some chassis out there that are old enough to race in HSR now. There was a conversion kit from the previous version of the LMP2, and that could still be racing now. And that's just, that homologation has just been extended again, as there is at the moment no replacement. Getting closer, I think, to a set of regulations for that, but IMSA's added another year on for LMP2, and it's been good to see the development of the LMP2 class, because I really think it's important that we have a training ground for young drivers coming up, as well as somewhere for the pro drivers to ply their trade. So, pole position for Inter Europol. Shea Adam is down in the pit lane.
Well, the best way to hang on to the championship lead is to get the most points in qualifying. Nick, that's exactly what you did. Your first pole position, what's it like to think about your first race win at Daytona, your first pole at Indy?
Man, this whole year has just been so special for me. Every time I'm in the car, I pinch myself. I've had so much support from not only logos on the car and family and friends and my wife, and my daughter doesn't know it, but she's putting up with me being gone. It's super special, especially to do it somewhere as iconic as Indy.
How important is it going to be as well for the start of a 6-hour race when there will be a lot of chaos out there with a lot of different cars?
Yeah, you know, we have a high closing rate coming into turn 1 here and a heavy brake zone with, let's say, maybe not fully up to temp tires. So it'll certainly be exciting. I think I'll probably have one eye on our rearview mirror, but our plan's just to keep clean and do what we did in qualifying. I mean, I think that's one lap I'll remember for the rest of my life on the good one. I had a few decent laps, but the one that worked was, yeah, I'll remember that.
Well, congratulations on a job well done today.
Thank you guys so much.
That's Nick Boole, our pole sitter for the LMP2 class, which means we only have one category left to go. And would you like to know who's qualifying for those cars? Yeah, of course you would. All right, for the 85, that's the JDC Miller Motorsport car. It is Tymon Vanderhelm, who had his fire suit on. For the 63, that's the Iron Lynx Lamborghini, the SC63, and I saw Romain Grosjean with his fire suit on, so let's see if he can get a pole in IndyCar and a pole here in IMSA. For WTR Andretti, we've got 2 cars in the field. The 40, which is the red one, will have Louis Delatraz going out and trying to qualify. He's been a bit of an endurance qualifying specialist, got his poles in both the long-distance races. For the sister car, it is the number 10, that's the blue one, WTR Andretti, Ricky Taylor aboard. Number 31, Cadillac, is the Cadillac Whalen Cadillac car. That's Jack Aiken, who had his fire suit on. The 24 BMW from BMW M Team RLL will have Philip Eng piloting it, and I think it will be Nick Yellowly in the number 25, but I did not see either of their drivers, just helmets sitting on the pit boxes. For Porsche Penske Motorsport, they got the pole position last year. It was Dane Cameron, who has basically filled in this year for Matt Campbell. Matty got the pole position and set the fastest lap. But it is Felipe Nasser who's doing the qualifying for the championship, leading number 7. In the sister car, Mathieu Jaminet was the fastest yesterday, and he is going to try and replicate that again today in qualifying. The number 5 is the Mustang Sampling Proton Competition Porsche 963, and that is Jimmy Bruni getting ready for qualifying. And last but certainly not least, always fast, the 01 Cadillac for Cadillac Racing, also a part of Chip Ganassi Racing running that car. It's Sebastian Bourdais.
Hello to Mark Whiteleg, who's under the weather with a bit of food poisoning up in Derbyshire in the North Midlands of the UK. Been thunder and lightning, or at least lightning at least there. He says the food poisoning is less woeful as I'm watching the qualifying from Indy. Get well soon, Mark. We wish you all the best. At IMSA Radio, if you'd like to give us a shout in this next 15 minutes, and that's how you get in touch with us tomorrow as well. That Inter-Europol competition was the first IMSA pole position for Inter-Europol by PR1 Matheson. A new name in the pole position running, and 3 of Nick's quick laps would have claimed the pole. So he had the top 3 times within that 0.461 second gap to the second place. So we wait for the green flag for the final 15 minutes, and that will be the GTP class, the LMDH category cars. I had an LMDH steering wheel in my hands a couple of weeks ago from the lovely people at Cosworth Propulsion. I was at, but they brought some of their electronics as well. Those steering wheels are a work of art. Fantastic stuff. They make the LMP2 steering wheels as well for pretty much all of the LMP2s that we have here this weekend. And the LMP3s, they're a bit smaller. An awful lot of technology in something that you would expect just to turn the wheels. Oh no, much more than that now. The number of different setups that you can have on the steering wheel in terms of buttons and spinny wheels and thumb wheels and all of that is a mind-boggling amount. Go on to radiolemans.com and look up Inside Cosworth. Long programme on that as well. Hello to Monopoly and to Jetrai Bochjan and to Powell as well. Good to have your company. Lot of Inter-Europol supporters from Central Europe and Eastern Europe who are following the exploits of that green and yellow team. Hello to Callum Mawson, who has come all the way to the Indianapolis Speedway listening to us on 103.9 and on the PA, wearing his Middlesbrough shirt. Thought you played a good game today, Callum. And you've got the problem that we had, Sunderland had in the last few seasons. Didn't have a finisher. Had some good chances, couldn't put them away. And hello to Brent as well, who's listening in at the moment at IMSA Radio. Callum, enjoy yourself at IMS. Make sure you go and see the museum. It's been refurbished recently. I think it's back open now. Now, before we get into the meat of this, Jeremy, the number 85 JDC 963, following or supporting a very worthy charity. We have a lot of what I would say is responsible teams in the paddock who like to use their opportunities to publicise and raise money for worthy charities, and it's the JDC car that we're highlighting this weekend. Well, they're carrying stickers which can be bought. Go ahead, Jeremy.
They're carrying stickers that can be bought to be placed on the car this weekend to benefit the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which is a fantastic cause. And you can buy those stickers. The yellow ones are $250, the black ones are $500, and they will go on the side of the car for tomorrow's race. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
They had a guest at Road America last time out, Tristan was, and they've got another guest with that team again this weekend. It's super.
So, also saying hello to Jakob Fröhlich in the Czech Republic. Go Cadillac for the pole. Interesting. John de Geese tuned in to us at the track. He must be absolutely worn out. I'm surprised he's got any fingers left from typing with all of the posts that he and the team have been doing over the last few days. Must have just got back from Fuji. He was in Japan last weekend. As I said, his track notes are absolutely invaluable. Just little snippets and headlines. That is www.sportscar365.com for the latest in all endurance motor racing. So Thomas Engden with the virtual fuel tank almost full. Conor De Filippi's only gone out with 70%, his teammate. And you can see that as well. You can see exactly how much is in the virtual tank, if you will, with the IMSA app. I mentioned it earlier on. GT, if you search on your search engine, IMSA GTP Virtual Energy will pop up straight away. Still waiting for fast times to come in. I've noticed a couple of teams have come in and done tyre changes, but Philip Eng hasn't. He stayed out. Simon Olech, and to at Caterham Tribune, praying for a BMW miracle this weekend. Already buzzing from the WEC podium at Kota, and at Fuji as well, of course. The prototype was second. Two brothers on the podium there. Already burned a third of this 15 minutes, and as yet we haven't had a time faster than the LMP2. This is the only class where you're allowed to touch the cars in the pit lane during the 15 minutes, but the only thing you can do is change the Michelin tyres. You're allowed 2 sets. What teams normally do is scrub in 1 set for a lap or possibly 2, and then put a second set on to go and set their qualifying lap. And by the way, spin for the SC63, sitting at in the wrong direction, and that's in the entrance to turn 9, 8 and 9. He's decided to grass trap it on there. Interesting. That's Roman Grosjean. And through 10 into 11. Now, did he just get offline? Is that another offline spin? Had too much curb on the inside of 8 and spun through 9 right in front of the 01 Cadillac, and the Cadillac stayed out of the way, trying to give him room. I think Grosjean was on a quick one there. And Sebastian Bourdais trying to stay out of his way. And by the way, if you want any more details on those stickers, go and get yourself down in the paddock, JDC Miller, or look them up online. And as someone who was born on the 28th of October, which is St Jude's Day, I endorse that message for St Jude's Children's Cancer Research. Bernie Eccleston was also born on the 28th of October. He's a bit older than me, a bit better off. Right, now we've started to get some... Now we've started... I was about to say I wish I was paying his tax, but he hasn't. That's been part of his problem down through the years. But now we're starting to get some times coming in, Jeremy, with just on half of the session remaining. A 1:15.2 for Connor De Filippi and his teammate, a 1:15.2, all of 0.028 between them. We're getting down to race lap record, but I think we've got a ways to go yet.
We're underneath the race lap record now. 15:05 was a race lap record set last year by Manny Campbell. And we're already faster than we managed in practice so far. Best lap was this morning by Louis Delatraz at 1:15.4, so 1:15.2 there for the number 25 BMW. Number 24 BMW goes faster than Philip Eng at 1:15.120. That record, by the way, is a 13.6 in qualifying last year. I don't think we're going to get close to that, but I think we are going to get into the 14s.
Yeah, I think so. It's fascinating to me how the teams are babying the tyres early on. There's clearly a very set, planned warm-up phase for the tyres. Warm-up, by the way, with the track temperature still over 100 Fahrenheit, 104 Fahrenheit, is spot on 40 degrees. No tyre warmers allowed though, and there's just a little bit of overcast, which means the sun's not on the track. The air temperature stayed pretty
happy hour
close. Yeah, there are bits of the track in shade as well, Jeremy, now with the sun moving across behind the main grandstand to drivers left as they go down the pit straight, but there's not as much shadow as we saw earlier, and not as much bright sunshine. Down to 5 minutes to go, and Delatraz goes to the top for the 4-0.
He does. Matthew Jaminet briefly there, 1:15.003 in Porsche car number 6, but Delatraz in car number 40, 1:49.14, new fastest lap of the week so far.
The Matthew Jaminet PPM Porsche Penske Motorsport 963, 15 flat, 15.0 for Felipe Nasr. Sebastian Bourdais 15.4. But Bourdais on a very quick lap. He's got the best 2 sectors. He's going to improve, I think, on that 15.4 as he's coming round to the line. He goes across the line and he goes to a 14. So just inside the 14s, no, a 14.592. 2.5 tenths faster than Matthew Jaminet, who's on a 14.8. Louis Delatraz on a 14.9. This is throwing overhand now, Jeremy, and I expect to see the improvements keep on coming for a lap or two.
Yeah, that's right. They're certainly really getting the most out of these cars. I'm surprised at how much fuel they got on board these cars. They're still, the virtual energy is showing us 85 or 90% for the majority of the cars. Only Colin De Filippi has less than 60% of energy on board. I'm surprised by that. I'm not quite sure where that would be.
Yeah, somebody asked me this a few races ago, if there was a regulation that said you had to be on full tanks. And as far as I'm aware, there is not. Thank you to David, who's at Super Good Life. He said, thank you for the great coverage from IMSA and the rest of the endurance world from RSL over the last few months. Top notch all year young. You gained a new fan in the UK for the American Series. Thank you, David. You're watching and listening. All free on the international feed in the UK, and you watch all the race tomorrow as well without any interruptions. No need for a subscription either. 14.592 then. Bourdais. Delatraz a 14.8. Second place. Cadillac, Acura, Porsche, BMW. Cadillac, BMW, Lamborghini, Porsche. Those are your GTP qualifiers. Now, I did say earlier on that they hadn't beaten the LMP 2 times. If they hadn't beaten the LMP 2 times, they would have still lined up ahead of the LMP 2s. There is a class split, so it will be all of the GTPs ahead of all of the LMP 2s, and they will be ahead of the GTDs. But the GTD class, as we mentioned at the time, somewhat 45 minutes ago or so, is not split between Pro and GTD, although the first 8 are Pro class cars. Down to the last 2.5 minutes. I'm interested, Jeremy, to notice that Mathieu Jaminet and the number 60 have not been through the pit lane to put a second set of tyres on. Neither has Connor De Filippi. Neither of the Porsche Penske Motorsport, and neither of the BMWs. That's really interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it? Yes. The number 25 BMW improved last time, got briefly up to 4th position, so it was Cadillac, Acura, Porsche, BMW, but that's now just been ruined by Jack Aitken, who's got up into 4th position in a second in the Cadillac. So that's the number 31 car for Action Express Racing, the Wheel and Cadillac Racing entry. He's turned a 1:14.936, so we've now got 5 cars underneath 1:15. Sebastian Bourdais in car number 01, Delatraz in car number 40, Jaminet in number 6, Aitken in 31, and De Filippi in car number 25. Just improves again,
Bourdais,
but doesn't improve his position. 14.996 then for Colin De Filippi on that last time as he comes into the pits.
So he's in the pits, Bourdais in the pits. Still trying. Ricky Taylor in the number 10. Running the Minolta Acura, which colour scheme rather matches the curb colours here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, being black, blue with a little bit of white on it. Comes round to the end of the lap with 51 seconds to go. Doesn't look like he's going to improve this lap, but he will get one more lap as he crosses the line now. Well, they did improve his time. A 15.008 didn't improve his position. Stays on the outside of row 3 as it stands. Down to 80% virtual fuel tank. But he's pretty much got the first part of the track to himself. First car to see the checkered flag will be Felipe Nasr in the Porsche number 7 for Porsche Penske Motorsport. He's just finishing a lap now, coming through turn 14. He's under half a second away from pole position, under 3/4 of a tenth from moving up. Checkered flag is out. And actually, it's going to be the number 5 car that sees the checkered flag. Oh, hello. A little bit of a run on at turn 7 for the Whelen Engineering Cadillac. Jack Aitken doing the quali there. So Jimmy Bruni saw the checkered flag first for the Proton Porsche. Quite a few people pitting without going down the start-finish straight. Obviously they know they're not going to improve. Tony, once again, waving the checkered flag. Thanks to all of our volunteer marshals and officials from IMSA and from the track. We simply can't go racing without you, and you give us your most precious gift, that of your time. Felipe Nasr's still in it here, coming to the last couple of corners, 12, 13, 14 now. Takes the curb, thumps the curb at 13 now. Changing up as he comes through turn 14, although he's got the lock on, drifts out to the wall, comes to the line and crosses the line, and he's done a 15.3, but his best was a 15.0. So both the Porsches and both of the BMWs, I know the Porsches went out a little bit later than everybody else, both of the factory Porsches, and both of the factory BMWs decided not to scrub in another set of tyres or change their tyres. Chip Ganassi and his team capture another pole position. Roger Penske can only look on from row 2 for his best of his Porsche Penske Motorsports, and with his name above the door, literally, at this place. So Sebastian Bourdais, yet another pole position. Jeremy Shaw, he just keeps on delivering. Strong rumours that he will be in the WEC for Cadillac next year with Hertz Team Jota. Yet to find out where their drivers are going to be redistributed.
He wouldn't be a bad guy to have on board, that's for sure. And his second pole of the season, the other one coming at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca earlier in the year. It's the 5th pole for Cadillac, I think, because we had 3 poles to begin the year for Pipo Derani in car number 31. So, yeah, good effort there by Sebastian Bourdais. He's never been on the Indy 500 pole here, but he's got a pole position at least on the road course.
Did he have a pole position in IndyCar on the road course, Jeremy?
Good question. Don't know, honestly. I don't think so.
I think he has a win here, which came from ridiculously far back on the road course.
That's for Del Corne, wasn't it?
Yeah, he raced in Grand Am here as well, of course, before the coming together of the American Le Mans Series in Grand Am. Won here in 2012, Shay's telling me in my ear. So Cadillac, Acura, Porsche, Cadillac, BMW, Acura, Porsche, BMW, Porsche, Lamborghini, Porsche. So somebody improved towards the end there. That must have been Jimmy Bruni, because he was sitting in 10th ahead, sitting in 10th behind, rather, Romain Grosjean. We'll just wait for Seb to get himself sorted out. 1:14.592, fastest GTP lap we've seen this week. About a second, just under a second away from what Matt Campbell did in qualifying last year in the Porsche 963. 963. What do you... fastest sector times for Louis Delatraz in sectors 1 and 2, but couldn't back it up in the third sector. And the ultimate lap time was a 14.571. It's Mathieu Jaminet, by the way, who was the quickest in sector 3 for Porsche. So what did we get? A 14.592, and the best lap was a 14.573. So not much left out there by Sebastian Bourdais, who managed to take pole position without taking a overall faster sector. Shea Adam is with the Cadillac Racing driver now.
Seb, this place is so special to Chip Ganassi Racing. It's the final go-around for the team here. How much moral boost is it to get pole position?
You know, like I was saying, obviously, I've been hit a few too many times around this place. It's not been very kind to me, so to come out on top today and put it on pole is obviously a great feeling. The whole organization obviously put a lot of effort into this. We really have a great group, and it's just a big thank you to everybody for all the hard work. Obviously, really happy for Cadillac, but particularly for Chip Ganassi Racing being the home race.
And it continues the streak of getting more points in qualifying than anyone else. Championship is still open. This moves you even closer. How important is that to keep in the back of your mind?
Yeah, I mean, we need all the points we can get, so you know, we'll take it for sure. It's a small gain, but every little point helps. And we're just going to try and get out of here still alive in the championship, so we can live to fight another day once we get to Petit. And it seems like weather might be a bit of a gamble tomorrow, so starting at the front might not be a terrible thing. And anyways, you know, it's good for the spirits. We'll have a good night, good sleep, and yeah, hopefully we can come back tomorrow and put a banker and hopefully come out on top.
Congrats on pole number 8.
Thank you.
Shea Adam down in the pit lane, and Jeremy Shaw with me, John Hindhaugh, in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. It's a Cadillac on pole for the TireRack.com. 6 hours here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.